The Sprint Cup then, race number 3, Group 2 contest over the 1,200 metres, headed by a two-time sprint winner on International Day, Mr Stunning, runner-up in this race last year and running up last time out to beat the clock. Will be ridden by Joe Moreira. Rattan gets the blinkers on, takes a drop-in trip behind Beauty Generation last time out. Winner's Way, third in this race last year, fourth of 4 behind Wishful Thinker last time. Pingu Sparks, a two-time course and distance winner in the past, and Handsome Bobo, group class for the first time for him. He rolls forwards. He'll come from barrier 4 and probably find himself in front, bro.
I think the bigger the gap between him and second early, the better. He's way out of the handicap on a rating of 90, but he is there. So he'll make his presence felt at least through the first 4/5, I would have thought, and then class will kick in. But he might give a nice trail to Mr Stunning, who might have to punch at the breeze. I tend to think Pingu Spark might be a little bit closer than where he is in that picture. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in front of Beat the Clock, but still on the rail.
Here is Mr Stunning, closest to us. Just giving a nice workout here with Speed Vision on the inside. Speed Vision is a really good track worker normally, and Mr Stunning just clicking over here in the morning, so not bad from him. Beat the Clock, his main rival, goes nicely as well. He's a nice horse, Beat the Clock, as we know, and he ran second one Beauty Generation last start. He looks good, he travels comfortably as well, and they're the main two rivals in the market. And then Rattan, blinkers on him for the first time, which is interesting. The cheek piece has come off, so a bit of a gear change. Chad Schofield from barrier 1, but he seems nice and relaxed there in his piece. Thought I'd show the 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right, we'll come back to Rattan in a moment or so. Let's start off, though, with Mr Stunning and his new jockey, Zach Purton.
Zach, Mr Stunning, you'd be looking forward to jumping on him for the first time under race conditions on Sunday?
Yeah, of course. He's a quality horse. He's a very consistent animal, and he's in a nice race, so I'm looking forward to riding him.
You rode him for the first time in a barrier trot. What sort of feel did he give you?
Yeah, it definitely was not what I was expecting. From what I've seen in all his videos, he's jumped out and travelled quite strongly, and the jockeys always seem to be having to take a bit of a pull or a tug on him early to try and get him to drop his head, and he pulls himself into it. Obviously finishes it off, but in his trial he jumped out well, and he actually never touched the bit. He was off the bit with a loop in the reins the whole way and seemed very relaxed. And in the straight he was just floating along, so I don't know what to make of that. You know, I'm still learning about him a little bit, and I suppose what he does on the weekend is what I'm going to take out of it going forward. You know, he's been a very consistent horse for a long period of time now, so I'm not worried about the trial. I'm going to the races with confidence, believing he's going to run well.
Frankie's comment afterwards was, you've got soft hands as a rider. That may have relaxed him. Could that just have been the case?
Possibly, but he's a long way into the season now as well, so maybe after having all those races and then having a little bit of time off, he might have just chilled a little bit, and some horses can do that as they get older. So let's just see how he is on race day.
Main rival is Beat the Clock. From your observations, is there much between them? No,
there's not. They're very level. It just comes down to the tempo and the runs that they get. And, you know, they're as good as each other.
Yeah, they're pretty closely matched. Are you concerned about that trial at all, Brett?
No, not really. I think it's interesting comments there from Zach Purton, but as he said, you know, he hasn't had a lot to do with the horse, so he's just sort of getting a bit of a feel for him himself. But he's a professional. He's got a faultless record over a long period of time. The one thing that does concern me for him, as opposed to Beat the Clock, who I think are, you know, the two winning chances in the race, is that Beat the Clock's had a run, whereas Mr Stunning hasn't. Beat the Clock, of course, ran in the Queen's Silver Jubilee at 14. He comes back to the 1200. I think that's an advantage for him over Mr Stunning in the last 100.
There's a neck between them last time, Paul. It was never closing neck, though. Mr Stunning was getting to him.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? And I think he can beat the Clock. But as Brett said, they're the two main rivals, and I think it's going to be a really good duel down the straight with these two.
Even though they've got the penalty, you think they'd have the measure of the rest.
All right, well, let's have a look at that run then. Beauty Generation out there in front. This is the 1,400 metres. You can see Rattan Winner's Way and Pingu Spark further back too. Yeah,
now I mentioned in the speed map, I think Pingu Spark from barrier number 3, I think Derek Long will be very aggressive. Obviously, they were aggressive 3 runs ago over the 1,800. And in the earlier stages of his career, he had 4 starts, course and distance, for 2 wins and a second. So I think they'll try and have him a lot closer to the speed. And I think that'll pave a good spot for him in the finish. And Ratton, I don't know whether he can stay in touch the first few yards. That's the question.
I think he'll finish on Rattan, especially with the blinkers on. I think it might just focus him up a little bit. But it's a good run from Beat the Clock. You can't take anything away.
Yeah, and I think the 14 back to 12, you know, when it comes to a strength and so forth thing in the final 100 metres, that might be where he just finds that little bit extra.
All right, well, this is back at the trials. This is Pingu Spark, who is, on this occasion, being a little bit close to the pace and beat the clock further back.
I don't think I mean, in his earlier days, he was a horse that sort of, jumped and run. And I think here's a prime opportunity for them to go forward from barrier 3. They've given him runs over longer trips to toughen him up. He hasn't been in the greatest form. I think they'll be up there serving it up to potentially Handsome Bobo, maybe even trying to hold the rail if they can.
Nice quiet trial from Beat the Clock. Nothing wrong there, so, yeah, just take what you want out of it. He was just clicking over his fitness.
All right, just the 6 going round. There's quite a margin between them at the moment in the market. I thought it will be, I'd imagine, a fair bit closer come race time.
Yeah, I'd say Mr Stunning will start about $1.80, and I think Beat the Clock $2.70 or something, and everything else will be double figures. I think that's how it'll end up. But I've gone outside the square here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think Mr Stunning can beat the Clock, but there's not much between them. That's a clear top 2 for me, there's no doubt. Ratton will give him a chance with the blinkers on, and Winner's Way's been running some pretty good races without sort of threatening. The 4th last start behind Wishful Thinker wasn't too bad. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think Beat the Clock's very hard to beat, actually. I think he'll have the better of Mr Stunning, who is a fantastic horse, don't get me wrong. But as I said before, I just think the run in the Queen Silver Jubilee Cup is a massive benefit for Beat the Clock as opposed to Mr Stunning, who comes in fresh. That might be the difference for me. Pingu Spark to run a real cheeky race, and Ratton won't be too far away, he's very honest.
All right, there you go. Handsome no, I've gone Mr Stunning as well. 1, 2, 3 and 5 for me. But Handsome Boba, yeah, I hope to see him get out and get kicking.
If he runs a place, Andrew, he's going to go up 30 points or something like that.
He will. All right, that's the Sprint Cup, the first of our feature races. The Chairman's Trophy comes up as race number 7.